right, what is up, everybody? Divine Hood here, coming at you with another daily update on Bitcoin and the crypto markets. What is up, everyone? Welcome in. I am back. The charts are looking interesting here, and Bitcoin is at some pivotal decision points. So let me know. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you see the screen okay? And we will jump into this and we will get started. Guys, not a lot really has happened since these 2 weeks that I've been gone. We were somewhat expecting a drop if that 113K level didn't hold. We were expecting a drop to come down to 108K to test our level of support, our macro level of support at 108K. And that is what is happening here on the charts. We are testing that 108K level of support. So far, it is holding, but it is not looking the best here. And there is some concerns that I do have on the charts here. Concerns as far as money flow goes, bearish divs go. Yes, we're going to go into all that. We're going to go into the local bull divs that we're seeing on the chart. And let me just check here to see if the sound's good. Yeah, looks like it's good. All right. Welcome in, guys. So Bitcoin is seeing that drop to 108K. If we turn on, let's go ahead and just look at our ranges here. This is our most recent range, I guess you could say. We did have a range up here that we were in for about 6 weeks, and we lost that range. We can still pay attention to that range, of course. But the main range that we need to look at now that we're seeing a bigger, more macro price action happen is our macro range, which is the entire range of 2025's price action, pretty much. Since we broke out, made new all-time highs, dropped down to 74K, and then broke above the value area high of that range into new levels of price discovery, making new all-time highs, and now we're dropping to backtest that general area of support. If we actually pull this range back a couple of weeks, you can see here right before I left, we pull that range back. The value area high of the range was within our box of support, and that was what we were watching for. The bullish backtest of the value area high, as well as a golden pocket area. We had a few levels of confluence. We had our golden pocket in here. We had a daily level in here. The pitchfork, because so much time elapsed, we broke the pitchfork down before getting to our box of support. But this general box of support was our macro support. We were looking at if Bitcoin was going to lose the local range, which was this area up in here. If we were going to lose this local range and not SFP the range lows, then we were most likely going to see a slow drop to backtest, to bullishly backtest that macro value area high to confirm whether the market in the rest of 2025 and early 2026 wants to confirm a flip to support, confirming strength on Bitcoin and potential new all-time highs still incoming. Or if we lose this level of support, we could see a bigger, longer, continued downtrend and bleeding of Bitcoin and the entire crypto market ending 2025 and starting in 2026, and possibly seeing that much bigger correction all the way down to take out our 74K lows. Now, I'm not going there yet. We do have some major supports before that area. But this is key, guys. This is such a key area and time for Bitcoin, whether we are going to continue up to new all-time highs. So anytime you have a range like this, a macro range like this, and this has been the fair value for Bitcoin. This has been considered the fair value for Bitcoin for most of 2025, actually all of 2025. This has been considered fair value. Well, earlier this year, about a couple months ago, back in July, late July, we were able to finally break above that value area high, and not only break above it, but we saw continued bullish momentum pushing up to new all-time highs, showing that the market was now bullish on Bitcoin, so bullish on Bitcoin that it was willing to buy even for what was considered overpriced for the year 2025, which was right around this 108K level of price. Now, Bitcoin did form a range here. We saw a bit of a failed breakout of the all-time high. We saw an SFP, a swing failure pattern of those previous all-time highs. These all-time highs here, we saw the swing failure pattern. And since then, we've been correcting to the downside. Slowly bleeding, I would say it is a pretty big drop from 124, pretty much 125K all the way to 108K. But we do see these sorts of corrections when the market gets overheated. And in this range that we were in for the few weeks, 6 weeks before I left, a lot of people were longing the top, and we saw macro bearish divergences coming in on multiple time frames. Yet a lot of people were longing the top of this range, longing in this range, thinking that Bitcoin was going to continue breaking up into new levels of price discovery. And so what do market makers do? Market makers dump it to the next major support level, stopping out all those trades, all those long trades that have accumulated over the past 6 weeks, resetting the market, resetting the liquidity. And then now we're either going to hold this level of support and continue pushing back up, not only into this range here, but continue pushing up potentially into new levels of price discovery and continuing the bullish momentum on Bitcoin. So it is very, very pivotal whether we close our weekly candle. Let's just zoom out onto our weekly chart here real quick. And you can see on the weekly chart, this is our test on the weekly chart of this area of support, being that macro golden pocket and the macro value area high of the range. If we can hold, you can see right now it's even only wicks into our green box of support, which we've had on the chart really going all the way back, June, July. Now, if this holds, I do expect Bitcoin to at least come up to that 118K area of resistance where we could see a golden pocket retrace and another lower high come in before continuing more downside momentum, or we're going to break above that and continue pushing up to new all-time highs. So we're going to have to really keep an eye out on how this weekly candle closes. We really want to close this weekly candle above the value area high of the range. Now I'm going to pull this value area high and we're going to shift it. Let's actually zoom in here real quick onto the 4-hour chart. And we're going to pull it all the way to current price action. And you can see the value area high has shifted a little bit, at least on Coinbase. I know on Bybit it's a little bit shifted as well. So it's about 109,300, 109,350-ish. And it is going to be pivotal to close above 109,300 for this weekly candle. If we can close above 109,300, I do think we will continue pushing up to make that move, coming up back into our range that we lost. If we just go ahead and throw on our fixed range volume profile, we can look at this range right in this area, I'd say, and we could push up first to test the value area low of the range to see if we can break back into that range, and then up to your point of control, which is where the fair value of the asset over the last 6 weeks before this breakdown happened. And that is in confluence with our golden pocket retrace from the all-time high in this case down to our lows that we made. This area of resistance is really, really going to be a pivotal resistance. If we can bounce from here, start to reclaim some of these local resistances, flip them to support. Big test here. If we fail, we could continue dropping down, continue to drop back into our 2025 macro volume profile and see that bigger correction that I've been talking about as one of the bearish scenarios for some time. And what am I talking about with that? Let's go ahead and zoom out on to the weekly time frame. And let me go on to my more macro chart here. So after we were looking at this weekly 5-wave impulse to the upside, it completed about January of 2025. We saw a multi-month correction to the downside back down to about 74K, but we did front run a pretty key golden pocket in that area. So if we take our golden pocket from the lows of that wave 4 to the highs of wave 5, and you can see that golden pocket was coming in between 72 and 70K. Also, if we pull, I'm going to zoom in a little bit to the 3-day time frame so we can get a better look at this. If we pull that 2024 range, this was our corrective range for most of 2024 for about 7 or 8 months. And if we pull that range and we look at that range, you can see that the value area high of that range is also going to be right at that 70K area where that golden pocket was. Now, we do have a new golden pocket because we have made new highs, so you can extend this golden pocket up to the current all-time high. You can see that our now golden pocket is going to be coming in right around those 74K lows and right around our major pitchfork band of support. This is that multi-cycle pitchfork that we have been talking about for months on the channel. After a 5-wave impulse completes, you do tend to see a larger correction. Now, in a very bullish scenario, you can get a flat correction where you have a push down, and you can even come out, take out the highs of A in a flat correction all the way up to that 1.382 Fibonacci extinction, which is where we did reject. And then you could see a push down in your C wave coming down all the way to take out the lows of your wave A. And this we would expect to last a significant amount of time because this was a 2.5-year push to the upside. If we just throw on our trend-based Fibonacci time, let's grab that. And we'll go from the lows of the impulse to the highs of the impulse. We'll throw that on. A minimum target is usually that 382. The correction lasts a minimum to the 382. Sometimes it does extend all the way to the 1-to-1, which is not until 2027. I don't expect us to be correcting sideways until then. But you can see this 382 Fibonacci extension is coming in the middle of November, about the middle of November. So if we are going to see Bitcoin see a bigger significant drop to the downside, is it possible that Bitcoin drops over the next couple of months, just similar to what we saw in this push down here, where we do slowly grind down all the way to take out the lows into our new golden pocket, grab the liquidity that's right below it into our major pitchfork band of support, where you can see we pretty much rejected from the midline of this pitchfork. And this multi-cycle pitchfork has been so well respected. Let me just go ahead and hide some of this so you guys can get a better look at this. There. And yeah, this pitchfork has been so well respected. We're making another attempt to break out of that midline. We did get some failed auction type price action above that midline, but now that we're starting to close weekly candles below that midline with some weekly bearish divs on the chart, it could signal for that bigger drop to come, at least down, even to just take out the 74K lows. I do think we do have some major supports before then. Like if we go back to the Coinbase chart and we look at our macro volume profile for 2025, let's zoom back in on the daily chart. We are at the pivotal support right now. The next level of support that I'm going to be watching is that 105K level of support because that is the anchored VWAP from the lows of that initial push down earlier this year. Now, if we want to maintain strength on Bitcoin, then generally this volume weighted average price here will act as support. Buyers will be willing to step in at that volume average there, and we will see a big push to the upside from that area. Do we have confluence at that area? Well, if we turn on our naked monthly points of controls, we do have a couple fresh naked monthly points of controls, and you can see we do have a naked monthly point of control pretty much in perfect confluence with that anchored VWAP just below us. It could be that we do see a fake out a little bit lower of the value area high just to come down to touch that trend, that volume weighted trend, see a bounce from that area, reclaim back above our value area high, and then continue the push up. But if we do not hold 105K, we could probably see a drop all the way down to that 97K area of support. Now, yes, there will be bounces along the way, but this 97, 96.5 really in this area, if we fall back in the volume profile, backtest that value area high and confirm reestablishment of price action back inside this volume profile, then the market is going to drop the price of Bitcoin to the fair value for this entire year to test to see if buyers will be willing to step in at fair value. And you can see we do have some very key liquidity that is going to be resting right into that point of control of support there. Point of control support. So it's early still in the macro process of things. We are at a big test right now. And this test over this next week, whatever this weekly candle closes, will tell us a lot about the future of Bitcoin, the next few months of Bitcoin. And I am hopeful. I am not putting on my bear glasses completely because if we do look at what we are seeing right now coming into the support, so far this support has been holding. We are reclaiming the value area high of the range, of our macro range, and we are holding the value area low of our smaller range. So let me go ahead and turn on that smaller range now. Not this guy here. So if we look at this range, this is, I'll zoom out onto our 8-hour chart. After that initial big impulse up here from the 74K area, you can see pretty much a straight up impulse to the upside. After that impulse completed, we saw that 3-wave corrective move down to 98.2 and then another big push up here. But this sideways range that we've been seeing since that initial impulse completed is an important range here as well, an intermediate range, I would say. And you can see, let's go ahead and turn off that big volume profile so we don't get confused here. We are at the value area low of the range. Attempted to break out of the value area high. We failed. We dropped below the POC, rejected the POC. Now we continue to grind down to that value area low, which is also in confluence with our major support level. We are holding so far that support level and holding the value area low of this range. I do think that closures below this is going to spell trouble for us, but we're holding it, and we're holding it with some pretty good bull divs on the chart. So if we zoom in here, just on the 8-hour chart, you can see lower lows on the price action through all of this chop in here, higher lows on the momentum waves. Now, the big thing here is our money flow. And on NAMI, the money flow is a bit quicker, and you can see on NAMI, the money flow is starting to come up slowly here and attempting to cross into the green now, which is what we want to see. We also confirm the bull divs on NAMI as far as momentum waves. You can see this, the triple drive of bull divs here on NAMI. Market Cipher B looks a little bit different, and we are seeing that continued bleed into the red here. It is starting to look a little bottomish. I do not like the way the past day or so, how this is starting to roll over and come down again. And with our higher time frame, if we zoom out, let's just zoom out a bit onto our daily chart. On the daily chart, money flows just crossing over into the red. And we did print that hidden bear div a couple days ago, last Friday here on Bitcoin, after losing the anchored VWAP from our previous all-time high before this little range happened up here. That was our previous all-time high, and you can see we're losing that level. So our first major level of support, because anytime you break out of an all-time high, you want to hold above that volume-weighted average to maintain strength on the asset. And we are now starting to lose that. You can see we even lost it, back tested it, and then we came down to that big level of support that we've been looking at. So key things to look at for Bitcoin: holding this, getting above that anchored VWAP, which is coming in right around 112,200. That's going to be the first major level to get above. And then up to about that 115K area. If we look at our liquidation heat map, let's look at the past month of price action here. If this thing will load. Yes. Okay. Yeah, we do have the liquidity into that 119K area. But if we look at, let's go to the symbol here. This is an aggregated chart showing the liquidity aggregated over the past month of price action we're going to look at for Bitcoin, showing that drop. Yeah, I guess so. Most of the liquidity is resting up into that golden pocket, 118 to 119K, 118.5 up here, right above in this area. So I suspect if we break above these two anchored VWAPs here, we're going to get a quick push up to that area. We also do have some fair value gaps on the daily in this area. But really, Bitcoin is showing the bull divs. We are seeing the bull divs on some lower and intermediate time frames. No bull divs on the daily time frame as far as Market Cipher B goes. Money flow is crossing over into the red. That's not the best thing. If you want to see a macro holding of support, you generally want to see those high time frame bull divs coming in. Now on NAMI, we do have bull divs on the daily time frame. You can see this. Higher highs, higher lows on the momentum waves, lower lows on the price action. Bull divs confirmed. Money flow is curving to the upside here on the daily time frame, and we're pushing up. So the thing for me is NAMI is a bit quicker as far as the money flow and momentum goes. And let's see, really the test is going to be around that 112, about to the highs that are coming in. So let's zoom in onto the 4-hour chart. And these lower highs that I talked about in yesterday's video, right in this area, are going to be pretty important, because if we just SFP those highs and then start to roll back over, we could come down, take out the lows again, form a sideways range in here. Oftentimes when we're back testing these macro supports, it's not a quick V shape. It's usually a range that forms. The market has a little bit of time to decide whether it's going to maintain strength on Bitcoin, especially if we have very key macroeconomic data coming out soon, and which we do. We have the FOMC potential rate cuts coming in September. So we might form a range in this area for a couple weeks, allowing time to pass for those rate cut decisions. But if we do start to lose and close, again, daily candles below this area, really about 107.2, I expect a quick drop to 105 and then potentially even lower and lower and lower. Let me check the chat, guys, see what everyone's up to. Quiles, Abir, welcome in. Sudeep, welcome in. Thank you guys so much for joining. Michael, welcome in. Grotto, EZ, Nonsense, thank you guys. Oh, Curtis J and R Pink, thank you for modding. Yes, back in live, man. Back and live. Yes, we'll go through Solana. We'll go through some of the other altcoins. Just real quickly, want to talk about Bitcoin. We can also talk about that total market cap. What's the most accurate tool you recommend, NAMI or Market Cipher? Well, they're both different, man. They're both, if you're a scalper, NAMI is a lot quicker, and NAMI does tend to give better local signals than Market Cipher B. But overall, Market Cipher B's money flow is very hard to beat. Like, it is very, very accurate. So I use them both. I mean, I can't give you a clear answer on one or the other. It's just depending on your trading style. I know Jason Casper, Frankie Candles use only Market Cipher, and they're very, very successful with Market Cipher. I've been trading with Market Cipher a whole lot longer than I've been trading with Nami, but the both of them together have really given me an edge on my entry and exit confirmations. And that's all I can tell you is my experience here. So, guys, we are seeing, let's actually, it was on the 1 hour chart. If we look on the 1 hour chart, we're already seeing some local bear divs on the 1 hour chart. We have broken local market structure bullishly, and we are coming up. Let me clean this chart up a second here, and we'll turn on that macro range again. So that macro range pulled all the way to present day price action, present time price action. That value area high is coming in a little bit below us at like 109,300, 323 ish. You can see earlier this morning we kind of had that back test of it with a nice big bullish engulfing candle here, but we are starting to see a little bit of a drop here with the 1 hour bear divs confirmed. We had the higher highs on the price action here and the lower highs on the momentum waves. Money flow was attempting to come up into the green. It is starting to looks like it wants to roll out on Nami. It's about to cross over into the red. So what I'm looking for very, very locally, because we've broken above for the day this value area high, this macro value area high at about 109,300. If we have broken local market structure bullishly. We have broken this high here. We broke it earlier today, made a higher low, and now we're continuing to make higher highs and higher lows. So very locally, we have broken market structure bullishly. That tells us that we might get a bit of a pump higher to come up to this anchored VWAP that's just above us, or even to come up even a little bit higher to take out the liquidity of these last internal highs here to form that sideways range. So what I'm looking for now, right now on the charts over the next few hours here, is if we do drop back down to that 109,300 level and backtest this value area high with some local bullish divs on the chart. Now we're going to be looking at like 15-minute and under bull divs. If we do have 15-minute bull divs and under, I will attempt to enter a long. And what I would do in that case is I would enter the long upon the test of this and confirm to support. My stop would probably just be going below that very local low, because if we start to lose that again, we would be breaking back down. Now, the thing is, guys, in a bearish trend, these local bear divs will provide some bit of a retracement or a bit of a drop if the bearish trend is going to continue. And the bull divs, we do have the bull divs. So this is 1 hour chart. You can see we have the bear divs on the chart. Let's zoom in onto the 15-minute chart. 15-minute chart, this is what was concerning me earlier today. You can see here 3 higher highs on the price action. We've got lower highs on the momentum waves here. Money flow as crossed back over into the red. So we had multiple drives of bear div on the 15-minute chart. Money flow is crossing over into the red here. We're at the VWAP. So the VWAP is the average price for the day. This is our daily VWAP. And if we are going to maintain a local uptrend, we could expect either to bounce from the VWAP where we're at now or coming down to that value area high at 109,300, 109,323-ish, I think it was. So bear divs locally, very on lower time frames, bear divs. But if we zoom out onto some of the higher time frames or more intermediate time frames, you can see we are forming the bull divs, continuing to form bull divs, multiple drives of bull divs with some green dots here. The 3 hour chart looks pretty nice to me. Holding support, first of all, finding that base, holding into our support box, holding it with 1, 2, 3 drives of bull div here. And our money flow is slowly curving to the upside, crossing into the green on the 3 hour. You can also see the bull divs here, crossing into the green on Nami. And because we are seeing this and we are seeing lower time frame bear divs, that is why I'm looking for a little bit of a drop here. If we do come down to that 109,300, these intermediate time frames do suggest we could continue pushing up a little bit higher. And that's why I would be willing to look for a local scalp long opportunity from the back test of that value area high to continue pushing up. Now, the first TP, and I probably would only TP like 30%, is going to be around that anchored VWAP, coming up to that anchored VWAP, about 112,200. But really, I'm going to be looking at, if we pull our Fibonacci, let me get rid of this here. If we pull our Fibonacci from the breakdown of the range, like this little last leg here, the breakdown of the range, from those highs right before we broke the range down to our lows. That golden pocket coming in around 113.5 because that is right next to our anchored VWAP and also right into our highs where our liquidity is. And how many times have I said in the past, an SFP into a golden pocket is a good setup to be looking for. So if we grab the local liquidity, reject from this golden pocket, reject from this anchored VWAP, that could be that scenario where we do form that sideways range for a bit and let the market have some time to establish whether this macro support level is going to hold to find that more rounded bottom if we are going to continue that push up at least to 118K. Let's see, 3-hour chart, we covered that. Let's go to the 6-hour chart. 6-hour chart looking pretty good here. You can see the 4 lower lows on the price action. And we have that momentum bull div here on the chart on both NAMI and Market Cipher B. NAMI has actually crossed up into the green and looking pretty good. The big thing on Market Cipher B is you can see we were attempting to push up here, but now with this local last little push, the last 6-12 hours here, it is starting to roll over again. And if we can see continued rolling over, now overall this money flow might continue bullishly, but if we start to see this little bit of a rollover, that's that little bit of a signal that we might get, especially with those local bear divs, a little bit of a retrace to backtest that value area high. But now that we're above the value area high, we really want to close the daily candle above 109,300. Let's go on to our Bybit chart. So a couple things I'm looking at on this Bybit chart. Let me hide some of this local. I'll talk about this channel in just a second. We're attempting to break out of it today. But if we look at, let's just zoom out to the 12-hour chart. This is our wave 3 pitchfork that we have pulled from that same 5-wave Elliott count that I just showed you. It's from the lows of wave 3 to the highs of wave 3. That was our all-time high in 2024, in March of 2024, being that 74K, and then the correction that lasted 8 months going down to the bottom of the correction. This pitchfork has been very highly respected, and we've been following this pitchfork for months. You can see we rejected our new all-time highs at the top of the pitchfork, slowly grinded it away, back tested the midline, lost the midline, dropped to the bottom band of the pitchfork. We back tested the bottom band, flipped it to support, worked our way to the upper band, rejected the upper band, and because we hadn't back tested that midline, after rejecting the upper band, we saw that 3-wave corrective move to back test that midline. Held the midline, pushed up to give another try at the band, and you can see we formed that range within the band that we often form within these bands, these upper and lower bands. We formed that range, lost the range, grabbed the liquidity locally, made one more push up, but that push up was just a swing failure pattern to grab the liquidity of the highs of the range. So this is very, very important what happened in this general area here. We were forming a range at our macro resistance, dropped down, took out the liquidity of the lows of the range, had a reversal, filled in some fair value gaps in this general area, filled in that fair value gap, and then made one more attempt to push up to new levels of price discovery. Yes, technically we did hit into new all-time highs, but it was just really a liquidity grab now. After taking out the lows of the range, the liquidity of the lows of the range, we came up, we took out the liquidity of the highs of the range. After taking out the liquidity of the highs of the range, we start breaking the range down, continuing to see an actual breakdown. You can see after this small liquidity grab here, we got a bit of a push up, but it was a failed break to the upside, breaking up and not being able to reestablish price action back inside of that range, dropping and now coming down to the midline of the pitchfork. Now, guys, very, very similar to what happened here. When we came down and we tested the midline of this pitchfork, it held very strong, and we got a pretty significant push to the upside after rejecting from the upper band. Well, we rejected the upper band, and now we're pushing down to the midline. Now, this midline also happens to be where our macro box of support is, that macro value area high, the golden pocket, the daily level that we had down there. This is the key support that does need to hold. And so far, it is holding. So far, it's looking like a nice little bottom here. Those bull divs are on the chart on like 8-hour, 6-hour, 4-hour, 12-hour. Not really 12-hour. 12-hour is, I would say, not confirmed bull divs, but money flow is now crossing back up into the green, which does suggest that we could get a little bit of a pushback up here. And Yeah, I think it's going to be really key to close above this anchored VWAP. And this anchored VWAP, you can see on Bybit, by the way, we actually touched it. On Coinbase, we haven't touched it yet. It's a little bit higher, 112.2. But on Bybit, we are rejecting from that anchored VWAP, which uh, could be the rejection that we see for the day. If we lose 109,300 after rejecting from this area, we might see that drop to 105. But that's really all I'm watching, guys. We are locally seeing a little bit of strength here with the change in market structure. Let's just zoom in back in onto that 15-minute chart. Perfect back test of the pitchfork. After actually touching the pitchfork, you can see we get a local break in market structure, breaking above our local highs, or you could even throw it to this high here. Either way, break in market structure locally, come back down, back test that pitchfork midline again, and we're continuing higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. So now we can look for another higher low to come in on the charts. And if we just pull our golden pocket from this last little push up that we saw today. So the golden pocket is a bit above the value area high that was at that macro value area high that was at 109,300 on Coinbase. Let's actually check this on Bybit. Okay, it's a bit higher on Bybit. It's at actually a lot higher, 110, 160-ish, 110, 150-ish, 150-ish. So we're actually in the process of backtesting on Bybit right now after attempting to break above it, rejecting from our local VWAP. We're backtesting that macro value area high. I know you guys can't see this very good. Let me zoom in here. So that's really gonna what we want to maintain strength, maintain above, flip this into support, and then continue breaking up above the anchored VWAP and really not seeing the swing failure pattern of these local highs. Let's see. The order flow looks pretty blah right now. We're not really seeing too much. Very, very locally, we are seeing some slight bullish absorption on the charts. You can see here higher lows in the price action, lower lows overall. It's kind of choppy in here, but lower lows overall in that CVD. And then your open interest is increasing. It's not a steady increase. So locally, we're seeing that bullish absorption on the charts, which does suggest that those 3-hour, 4-hour, 6-hour, 8-hour bull divs are going to continue to play out overall. But with the 1 hour and 15-minute bear divs we are seeing, we might see a little bit of a drop. The first real level of support was that VWAP. And so far, the VWAP is looking like it wants to hold. We're not getting much of a push right now, but I expect this local bullish absorption will either hold that a higher low, higher than this low down here. That was about 108,350. Okay, let me check the chat here. ICP, yep, we'll go into ICP. ZMX, I think it's key to hold this midline. The midline just happens to be in confluence, it oftentimes is, with that macro support box, that golden pocket that we were looking at and the value area high. Yes, I do understand the value area high has shifted a little bit higher in the past couple of weeks, but for a majority of the year, that value area high, like if we pull this range just back a couple weeks here, you can see that value area high. Well, I guess on Bybit, let's pull it back to here. Yeah, for Bybit, it's been maintained around 109.6. Coinbase, it was at 108K. If we pull that value area high back a little bit, let me. Hit the wrong one. You can see that it's a lot lower on Coinbase. Now, I do tend to follow Coinbase volume levels. They are more respected in my trading experience. I understand that some of the others like Jason and I think Frankie Candles follows the Bybit charts, Bybit volume profile levels. Either one, they're very close to each other, and it's just this general area. This general area is the area that really needs to hold, especially with seeing this kind of pitchfork midline confluence. if we start to lose the midline, we could see those bigger drops that we often see when you lose a major support level. Of course, with small bounces along the way. So I'd expect to drop down to that 105K where we have that naked monthly point of control and the anchored VWAP from the 74K lows. Maybe a back test of that midline. And then if it rejects, you're going to continue to bleed down here all the way, coming down to that 96.5. And by the time that we get down to 96.5, it could be in confluence with this lower band, just like it could be in confluence with the, not this one, the other one. One more pitchfork I want to show you guys, and then we'll move on to some of the altcoins. This is the Coinbase chart. Let me get rid of all this local stuff here. I'm going to zoom out onto our 8-hour chart, and we're going to look at a pitchfork that was pulled from this first initial push up in 2024. So when we found our range lows in 2024, we had that first initial push up followed by a higher low. This was like the start of our double 1-2 impulse, our big 1-2, 1-2, big 3, 4, 5, 4, 5 that was in here. And that finished your fifth wave for the cycle. Not for the cycle, for that impulse, excuse me. So if we look at this pitchfork, you can see here that we did reject. And this pitchfork, yes, it is. We broke above it. We were trying to maintain that range above it for a few months. You can see back tested it a few times. But once we fell back inside of it, we worked our way to the bottom of it with one big deviation here. Down here, that kind of big scare that happened with the uncertainty of tariffs. And then we kind of worked our way back inside of it. You can see once we worked our way back inside of it, let me hide this range so you guys get a better look at this. Worked your way back inside, broke above the band, flipped the band to support, broke above the midline, flipped the midline to support, came up to the upper band. Rejected the upper band, lower high, rejected the bottom of the upper band, lost the midline, came down to the lower band. So pretty much the same type of stuff happening in here, just trading the major levels of the pitchfork. Came up to the upper band again here at that 123K all-time high. Rejected that upper band. Again, these upper bands, guys, on pitchforks really do seem to cause a lot of problems. Heavy resistances, not just on Bitcoin, but on many of the assets. You can see that range formed once we lost the midline, backtest, dropped to the lower band. After bouncing from the lower band, grabbing the lows of this little range, this is the same little range that I talked about earlier, grabbed the lows into our lower band support, pushed up, attempted to break the midline again, rejected, and now we're losing this pitchfork, backtesting this pitchfork, and now we came down to our major support level. So this is the thing, guys. The key here is you can see where did we backtest the bottom of that pitchfork after losing the pitchfork right in here, backtesting in this general area. Those highs, those key lower highs that we just talked about at 113,500 pretty much. And that is where the SFP into the local golden pocket of this last little grind down was. It's also going to be the bearish backtest of the pitchfork. We had an immediate bearish backtest, rejected, and came down to our support level. But now that we've actually hit our macro support level, this is key because if we come up here and we reject this, it's going to show at least signs of a bigger range forming in here. But in a real bearish scenario, you reject this, you now start to drop much, much further. And then let me go back to this chart and I will talk about this little parallel channel real quick. This was just a little parallel channel I'm following. After seeing that big initial drop, we're seeing a lot of this chop in here. And so if we just look at this parallel channel, we broke it today with some volume to the upside, but rejecting that anchor view up. So really maintaining above this channel. After you break out of a channel like this, you'll oftentimes sweep the liquidity of the second pivot, if not sweeping the liquidity of all of it. And so once again, that key area at 113.5 coming into play, looking for a push up to sweep that liquidity. If we do reject 113.5, I might look for a scalp short, and that scalp short would just be coming down to take out the lows here, holding some open to 105 or much, much lower. Okay, that is it for Bitcoin. Real quick, total market cap. Guys, total market cap is just trading within this descending wedge. We are reclaiming. Yesterday when I made the video, we were below the value area low of this range. And it is important that we are now breaking back into the value area, but we're still kind of just following this wedge here. And there is a potential that this wedge could continue until we come down and take out the lows of our bigger range, which is this guy here. This bigger range, take out the lows into our pitchfork midline. Let's zoom out onto the daily chart. I'm just going to hide this real quick. Yeah, this is our upper range that we've been forming for most of 2025. Not most of it, going back to July. But from July of 2025, you can see we rejected that upper band again. And so if you reject the upper band, starting to break market structure bearishly on the daily time frame, there is a potential that this thing could slow bleed all the way to take that liquidity into our midline of support. So if the total market cap continues to bleed, that does mean that Bitcoin and the altcoins will be bleeding as well. What I want to see now, it is nice that the total market cap is regaining the value area low of this range. And that does suggest that we might get that at least decent push up on Bitcoin and on some of the altcoins, by the way. Get a decent push up here. I would be aware of rejecting the POC. And then also if we pull a fib from the highs to the lows here, you can see that golden pocket's coming in just a bit above the value area high of the range. So I'd be watching this general area for a potential rejection as well. Yeah, but that, we attempted to break out. You can see up here, you even see this sort of, whatever you want to call it, head and shoulders pattern here. Broke it down, came down to the lows of the range, made that lower high, and now we're continuing bearish momentum here. But it is seeing nice bull divs. Money flows finally started to curve up on that last low that we made yesterday on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, let's go on to Ethereum. Ethereum, guys, I am short on Ethereum, and this was one of the few posts that I did make during my vacation. We were looking at Ethereum. Let's zoom out onto the daily chart because Ethereum is unfortunately rejecting the top of this pitchfork. And we did say that this could be something that happened with Ethereum. The first rejection we got, we didn't quite take out the all-time highs. So we said if we come up again and we SFP those all-time highs and fall back inside this pitchfork, there is a potential that Ethereum could drop all the way down, potentially all the way down to 34.89 again, down into this general area here where I'd be looking for a swing long opportunity. But Ethereum overall still looking strong. And if we remember that 1, 2, 3 here, we could be done with our 3. We could be seeing our wave 4 retrace, which would either retrace us to the 382, which you can see is in confluence with the upper part of the band, or the 0.5, which is in confluence with the lower part of the band of our macro pitchfork here. And then we could see one more push up into that 55, potentially all the way up to 7,500 area, ending Ethereum's push for the cycle up in that after finishing this big impulse to the upside. But this range that we're forming here, let's just go ahead and take off this range for a second. We came up to the top of the pitchfork. We attempted the breakout, and zooming in on some lower time frames, let's go to the 4-hour time frame. You can see that kind of failed auction type price action. Of course, it's not always going to reject perfect from the exact top, but when we did in this area here, I did post after SFPing the all-time highs. Now, this is key after, because here we didn't SFP the all-time highs. We didn't take the liquidity of the all-time highs yet. So we were looking for another push up to take the liquidity of the all-time highs. After taking the liquidity, when you see a breakdown back inside the pitchfork, now you can look for that bearish back test of that pitchfork upper, the top of the pitchfork. If we do reject in that bearish back test, you expect to at least come take out these lows down here, but potentially come take out the lows of your sideways range that we're seeing, which is this range right in here. So I am still short on Ethereum. And if we pull that volume profile of that range, which I just hid, this volume profile right here, you can see earlier was yesterday, we came down to the value area low of the range. We saw a nice bounce, but now we are losing the point of control again. And there's a potential that the value area low does not hold this time, and that we actually come down to take out these lows here. So I do have a partial TP at these lows. And then a majority of the TP though, guys, I'm holding this as a potential swing short opportunity. Coming down to that 3768 area, the macro 382, right around your pitchfork upper band, the top part of your pitchfork upper band. But this would be the real juicy swing long position. We have a naked daily point of control down here. We have our 0.5 down here. We have the lower part of the band down here. But most importantly, we have our macro value area high down in this area. Zooming out onto the daily chart again. If we look at this volume profile, this is of our 4-year long range on Ethereum. So if Ethereum is truly going to break into new levels of price discovery, not just SFP the all-time highs, but truly break out into new levels of price discovery, then what we want to see is we want to see a break above the volume profile. You can see we bounce from the value area low. We come up to the value area high. We break above it. We got our local back test of it. We came up to the top of the pitchfork. Now, if we reject the top of the pitchfork, what is going to be real key to hold is a bigger, higher time frame back test of that macro value area high. If it holds, we expect Ethereum to really start to push up into new levels of price discovery, not just by a couple $100 or not just by a liquidity grab of the all-time highs, but to really continue pushing up in that wave 5 push there. Maybe even to 7,500. So Ethereum's looking overall bullish. We did confirm a lot of the bear divs here. You can see triple drive of bear divs on the chart. 3 higher highs on the price action, lower highs on the momentum waves, and our money flow was the one thing that was keeping us bullish on this. But now that money flow is topped out, it has been consistently dropping to the downside. We can expect that these bear divs, this triple drive of daily bear divs, could bring Ethereum down for a few more weeks, a couple more weeks here, to these more macro levels of support below us. And then if we go ahead and take our fib, get rid of this, from our last big daily lows to our highs, our new all-time high, that golden pocket is going to be coming in below the range low liquidity. SFP into a golden pocket. Let's zoom in on this 4-hour chart. It is a little bit lower than that, so it would be kind of a big liquidity grab, but we saw something very similar with Bitcoin on that range where it came down here. It took these lows out, came down a bit further, filled in some of these fair value gaps, and then made a push up to new all-time highs. So Ethereum, we could be looking for Ethereum to come down to this golden pocket, grab the liquidity of the lows of the range, and then we want to see a push, not a rejection from this value area low, but a reclaim of the value area low and a push up to the value area high, where you can see the value area high would be another key back test of the top of the pitchfork. Definitely a take profit level for me. But more importantly than the golden pocket, look at where our 786 is. So it's in that initial box of support where it's our higher time frame support level, coming in between the 382 and that upper pitchfork band. And this area here is like 3772 down to like 3700, let's say, that 3700 area. I would definitely be looking for longs if we're coming down into this area. Definitely be looking to take some longs. Also, if we pull our volume profile of this previous range, you can see that the value area high is pretty close to that. So it would be a back test of your previous range value area high, confirming what used to be considered overvalued earlier this year in July is now going to be considered undervalued and look to be flipped to support to continue the breakout on Ethereum. Money flow just doesn't look good, guys. The reason why I'm still short on Ethereum, the money flow on Ethereum looks a lot worse than Bitcoin. And we also confirmed those triple drives of bear div on the daily, pretty strong. But you can see here, money flow exiting, leaving out of the asset still on the 4-hour chart on both NAMI and Market Cipher B. And with the money flow leaving the way it is pretty aggressively on this 4-hour, also we did invalidate the local potential 4-hour bull divs. Now we could still see bull divs. We are seeing already lower lows here, higher lows here, but this momentum wave's not done yet. And with the money flow leaving the asset, remember, money flow leaving the asset will always, I shouldn't say always, but a majority of the time, overpower a single drive of bull div. And in that case, that I would be looking to come down if we lose the value area low, come down to take out the liquidity at $4,062. 2-hour chart. Money flow is still in the red. Very locally, we do have some of those bull divs here. Not really too much on Market Cipher B or on NAMI, excuse me. But you can also see here on the high that we made earlier today, hidden bear div printed. This hidden bear div signal. So hidden bear div is a continuation pattern, and down the locally the down it's been a downtrend. So we should suspect that maybe this is going to continue dropping lower. We got a small bounce from the value area low of the range, which is to be expected. But if we're starting to close candles now, 2-hour candles like this next candle, if it closes, I expect us to at least come take out those lows from yesterday, which was a holiday. So it is considered a weakened low. And that weakened low there could be taken out as little as an SFP of that low. And we're going to continue to range within this, or we're going to drop to take out our actual range lows. Let's go to the 15-minute chart. Yeah, 15-minute, you can see here the money flow is just bleeding out. And yeah, the very, very locally, we are starting to see some bull divs potentially form. But with that money flow bleeding out, and here we go again, multiple hidden bear div prints on Ethereum. I just think Ethereum is going to continue dropping a bit more. And honestly, what we want to see here for Ethereum is we do want to see a bigger drop down to confirm, this wave 3 ended. Now we're going to see a bigger correction either down to that 382 or even down to that 0.5 area, where then that could be a macro support for your bigger wave 4 correction on the daily time frame. This would take a couple of weeks to play out, but you get that bigger correction and then blast off up to real new all-time highs, not just an SFP. Let's see. You think the bottom is in? That's a very hard question to answer, because if the bottom is going to be in, it's from this support level. This is the support that really is key to hold. We are seeing some intermediate time frame bull divs, but the higher time frame suggests that we could drop lower. And also the higher time frame Elliott pattern that played out, that potentially is playing out with that bigger flat correction. I hate to say it, but we could see a much more extensive drop to the downside. It's all going to depend on how this week closes, because if the market truly is bullish on Bitcoin, they will step in at the bullish backtest of that value area high, and we will see not only a break back up inside of this range, but really we'd want to see, maybe a rejection from 118K, drop back down to the value area low. Let me clean this chart up for you to explain this a little better. But if we pull that range here, we'd want to see a break back up, breaking, if we reject from 118K, this 118 to 118.5, the POC of the range, we'd want to see us really come back down to back test that value area low. And that value area low is also going to be back inside this pitchfork. So it would be reclaiming the pitchfork, and then we could continue the momentum, rejecting from value area high, seeing flip to support of the POC, and then continuing to push up to new all-time highs. Yeah, Tima, I think you're right, man. Oftentimes at these more macro support levels, these bigger, higher time macro levels, we form a range. And yes, locally, very, very low time frame, there was a range that formed in here. But that's usually the higher time frame ranges will form at these bottoms, and then we see that bigger push up. Something like in this area, we were starting to form a range for a few weeks. Yes, we saw fake out of the range, one more grab of liquidity, and then this drop we're seeing now. But generally, you will see a bit of a range form, and it allows some time for the market to really diagnose and decide whether it wants to maintain bullish momentum or not. I do have to say it's holding nicely, guys. It's holding nicely. So yes, price action first, indicator second. Our indicators are a bit bearish on some of the higher time frames with the bear divs that have been printing on the weekly, on the the 2-day, the 1-day. Money flow not looking too good, but support is holding. And until we lose this, we do have to maintain that overall, in the larger scheme of things, Bitcoin has been in a big uptrend, making higher highs and higher lows. So this our larger time frame bias has to be that Bitcoin is going to continue the bullish momentum until we start losing this area. Okay, Ethereum, let's go into Solana now. Solana is now, guys, I'm a bit more bullish on Solana than on some of the other altcoins, and we're breaking above our March 2024 highs. So we've been in a range since March of 2024, this bigger range in here, and we broke above that range We did get this rejection. We're just kind of chopping up in this parallel channel here. We did get a rejection from this golden pocket area. If you pull your fib from the highs to the lows here. Now, because that was more than a 60% move to the downside, you do need to take this and put it on based off log scale because we are on the log chart. And you can see that macro value area high and macro golden pocket was about where we rejected for. We formed a bit of a, you know, rising wedge in this area, but this rising wedge still hasn't even broken down. But the big thing that is showing bullish for me on Solana is that we're maintaining above the value area high. So very similar to Bitcoin, breaking out of a macro volume profile. If you come down, you backtest this volume profile, it holds a support, you can continue to work your way up to the next level of resistance. I would be a bit concerned about this kind of wedge that is forming here. And if we do come up to like 232, or even if you take the golden pocket from the highs to the lows, but you don't put it on log scale, you just leave it on your regular scale, that 218 level. Yeah, did we touch it? We did front run it just barely. So seeing an SFP continuing this rising wedge here and rejecting from this general area might be something to look for as well. But money flow, look at money flow on the daily time frame, curving to the upside again. No real bear divs on the chart here, unlike Bitcoin. I mean, you do have the higher highs here, lower highs here. So regional bear divs on the daily, but not local bear divs on the daily. There's no local bear divs in here. And money flow looks pretty good on Solana. Of course, Nami did confirm regional bear divs on the daily, but we're maintaining above the value area high of the range. We broke out of the range. We're maintaining above. We do not want to see another failed auction type breakout. So if we do form a range up in here, actually hit that golden pocket, continue this range for a bit, and then break back inside that volume profile, we can probably expect a pretty big drop on this thing. Want to maintain above that 193 area. So, yeah, 218, that golden pocket there. Now, for me, I'm looking up a little bit higher. I'm looking up at that 232 area right up in here. We do have a monthly level up there at 231.69. We have a daily level right up in there. And then we have I believe it was a naked weekly point of control. Yeah, so there's a confluence up in this area of not only volume resistance levels, but time resistance levels as well. Dailies, monthlies, and your naked weekly point of control. 4-hour chart. We're starting to bleed into the red on the 4-hour on Market Cipher B, and we did confirm those bear divs on the 4-hour chart, but front ran the golden pocket. So you can see here, higher highs, lower highs here. Money flow looked pretty good here, though. So that was a tough one because money flow was rising pretty aggressively, and you did front run the golden pocket. I understand if we would have hit the golden pocket, that would have been a very nice short because you confirmed the bear divs and your money flow by the time you came up there was starting to see signs of toppage. But we didn't quite hit it. So that's allowing me to think that we might actually just even at the very least get one more push up to actually hit that 218 to 225 level. If we do reject from that, then I will look for a short. But really 232, 231 to 235, I should say. Zoom in onto the 1-hour chart. On the 1-hour chart, let me just pull this. Some nice bull divs that you saw on the 1-hour, just very slight bull divs, but you can see here lower lows in the price action coming down to that value area high, higher lows in the momentum waves, just very, very slight, but they are. And also we did print a hidden bull div earlier today on Solana on this higher low down here. So if we look at like scalp stuff from the lows of Monday to those highs that we made Tuesday morning, and then that drop, we got the drop right into our golden pocket, our local golden pocket. bounce from that local golden pocket, and we're continuing to push up. So I do think Solana is going to continue up to like 218 at least. You could look at the little range that's forming. If let's just go to the 4-hour chart, and I would be looking at all this price action that is above the value area high here. Value area low bounce. We're above the POC of that range, so you can expect to move at least up to the value area high. And that is also going to be where your golden pocket's going to be coming in, right around that area. If this range is going to continue a little bit more, you expect a rejection there, maybe a bounce from that POC, and then that push up to 218. But Solana looks pretty good. Let's go on to the daily chart. Yeah, that money flow looks pretty good. On NAMI, the money flow is also rising in the green. I know that's really hard for you guys to see, but it is rising into the green again. And if we zoom out onto the weekly chart, on the weekly chart, the money flow looks really good here. Unlike Bitcoin, our money flow is still curving up nicely, both on NAMI and Market Cipher B. We are printing the multiple drives of bear divs here. Not multiple drives, but you can see here we did have bear divs confirmed. Money flow topped out in this general area, and since then on the weekly, money flow has been draining out. It's rising back up again. We do need to watch for a lower high hump of this money flow, and if we make a new all-time high with money flow bear divs, that could signal a bigger top, because then we could also get bear divs here, momentum and money flow bear divs, if we take out the all-time high around $300. But we are not even close to that yet. We've got some work to do. Two-day chart, money flow still looks pretty good. We pretty much have confirmed the bear divs now on the 2-day chart. But as soon as this money flow starts to roll over, and also you can see confirmed here as well on NAMI. Confirmed. Now on NAMI, the money flow is leaving out of the asset, and we also have bear divs on the money flow here. So watch for that rejection. Watch for that rejection from 218 to 232. First, 218 to 225, and if we break above that, clean shot up to like at least the 231 area. I know those are very close together, but I'd be watching for those two areas, because with these confirmed momentum divs and money flow divs, if we're actually going to hit into that golden pocket and reject, that's when you could get the bigger drop back inside your volume profile and potentially all the way back down to the POC at $145. Okay, let's go into Sui. Sui, guys, I'm still looking not a lot has happened on Sui. We were looking at this volume profile. This volume profile goes back to November of 2024. Let me just get down to the daily chart. November of 2024, we rejected this purple box up here. This is where we were looking for the short. It was the naked weekly point of control in confluence with the value area high of the range. We rejected that area. Now we could be seeing that 3-wave corrective move before continuing to push up here. And that would be potentially a bigger, this would be a 1, 2, internal 1, 2, and then we could explode up in a 3. In our very, very bullish count on Sui, we'd be looking at a larger double 1, 2. And of course, in your first wave, you're going to have that 5-wave impulse. You're going to have a 3-wave corrective move down. You're going to have another impulse and another 3-wave corrective move down. So for me, what I'm looking at on Sui, this naked daily point of control coming in here at like 295.3, right where your golden pocket is, this is looking really juicy for me. A potential swing long opportunity if we get down there. The big thing that is happening right now that hasn't happened in a few months for Sui is that we're losing the anchored VWAP from the lows. And you can see from our April lows, this anchored VWAP, we were maintaining above it for this entire impulse. We lost it in this correction, and we came down to our golden pocket. And that's why we were looking to buy spot here, because it was the midline of our channel in confluence with the golden pocket. And it was also the value area low was down there at the time as well. Now that we are pushing up, we did attempt to break out of this channel. We're seeing that kind of chop, that failed auction type price action. We're back inside the channel, and we could see that drop back to the golden pocket just from the lows of the simples to the highs of the simples. If we come down here in this nice three-wave corrective move, it would be a pretty nice thing to see. And actually, I don't know if I've looked at this yet. Let's look at our trend-based Fibonacci extinction. We'll go to our targets. Yeah, so your target for the ABC, if this is going to be a bigger three-wave corrective move, that one-to-one, which is coming up very relatively soon here, but really that it's the area between the one-to-one and the 1.236. So you can see close to that 1.236 is our more confluence of support coming in around that 295 level. And that's where I'd be looking generally to get that bigger push up. Let's see here. SUI, let's look at the monthlies. Okay. Yeah, and there's a daily that's down close by there as well. As far as local resistance goes, now that we're below the POC of the range, you can see the POC of the range is now going to be at the top of the channel, and we also have a daily there. So that 349 level is going to be a level that we could see a rejection and just more of this chop. Like if we're going to continue this chop, you could come up here, reject that, and then continue this chop that we're seeing all the way down to that area. So 349 might be an interest of a short position, a scalp short position. On the daily time frame, yesterday we closed our first daily candle below the anchored VWAP. And so what that means is we're starting to lose the strength, the overall trend. If we want to maintain strength of this trend, we want to maintain above that as far as daily candle closes. So the fact that we're starting to close daily candles below does suggest that we could fill in these fair value gaps in here and come down to this golden pocket. It's kind of likely in my scenario. Money flow's about to cross over into the red. No bull divs yet. No bull divs yet on the daily time frame. Let's go on to the 8-hour time frame. On the 8-hour, I guess you could say very, very slight. No, I wouldn't even call that bull divs. Those are not bull divs. So no bull divs yet on the 8-hour. NAMI is printing the bull divs, but Market Cipher B is not. And look at the money flow. The money flow just looks bad. So I would say continued drop is likely here. 4-hour chart. Yeah, locally, 4-hour, we are seeing some bull divs here, lower lows here, higher lows here, but the money flow still just looks bad. And we did just print that hidden bear div. So now that we're losing this anchored VWAP, if we come up here and reject this in this general area, you can expect that momentum to continue down. But I will tell you right now, I'm actually going to do this right now. I'm going to set an alert on this naked daily point of control and look for a potential long. So what I would be looking for in this scenario, guys, if we're continuing this slow grind down, like these high, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, and this choppy price action down to that area, then I absolutely, if we're seeing bull divs on the chart, I will take a long. Coming into that 295. Okay, let me check the chat real quick here. Quad witching on the 19th. Okay. And welcome in, Tiamat. Thank you, man. I'm glad to be back. And how many times have you seen midline failing and recovering? Wait, failing and recovering fast? I'm not exactly sure what you mean by this. Like, if you're talking about how many times have I seen the midline be tapped and get a quick recovery, it does happen. You know, look at this area here. Tap the midline, instant push up. We had buyers willing to step in there. Tap the midline, more of a rounded bottom in here, but we are holding that midline. And earlier today, on that drop, we tapped the midline, but it was a higher low, just barely, but it was a higher low. Not, that was yesterday, excuse me. Late yesterday for me. But it's maintaining strength, and we're still, you know, breaking out above this, breaking out of the channel. So if we're breaking out of this channel, really coming up to take out the second pivot liquidity, that 113,500 area that I talked about. Yeah, Tima, I agree. 114K, that 113.5, which is the golden pocket, the local golden pocket. You have your liquidity here, 113.5 to 113.8, about that 114. That is going to be key because if we just come up there, once again, if we come up here, we SFP this into the golden pocket, we could start to form that sideways range that oftentimes forms around more big macro bottoms. Now, this macro support level we've had marked out on the charts for a couple months prior to coming down here. It was our macro support level. We are holding that macro support level, but if we do just come up, grab our local liquidity into our local golden pocket, which you can see is also going to be around the back test of the pitchfork that we're losing, then you can at least expect in a bullish case scenario to form a sideways range in here and, come take out the lows again. After taking out the highs, you could come down, take out the lows, and then you could form this range where you could then initially break it, but you would expect some sort of range to form at macro support. Okay. What's up, Mark Dutch? Welcome in, man. Yes, ICP. Okay, we will go through ICP. President Trump appeals court ruled against us on tariffs. We will go to Supreme Court tomorrow. The stock market needs and wants tariffs. Huh. That's what Trump said. Yeah, I guess we'll see how it plays out. However it's going to play out, it's going to play out. So, yeah. Yes, I did say I was going to go out to smoke a cigarette and grab some milk, and I was gone for 2 weeks, but at least I came back. Okay. Well, ICP. Let me get an ICP here. Yeah, ICP. We are at our box of support that we marked out a few weeks ago. Now we have to remember the larger context of ICP. It is forming like an accumulation bottom in here. So we had our nice huge drop to the downside. Now we're starting to find exhaustion in the selling, and we're starting to really find a bottom where this could be accumulation for the bulls, and this could go a lot longer before starting to see that big break up here. Now, I would say money flow leaving out on the weekly time frame doesn't look too good here, and we didn't confirm bull dibs because we didn't take out this low, this initial low. So if we come down one more time to take out that low, we could form some nice weekly bull divs. You can see Nami printed hidden bear div on the weekly chart on coming up to that high that we rejected from earlier in July, towards the end of July. But let's just look at this now. Let's see, that weekly was taken. Yeah, all these weeklies are taken. We do have a fresh weekly that is going to be down in this area here at 455.8. Okay, so this box of support we had marked out. Now, at the time, the value area low was at the top of this box. So we were looking at value area low 786 as our support level. And then, of course, all these, remember these semi-equal lows down here to grab the liquidity of all these semi-equal lows to stop out all those players, which we did, and now see a pushback up. So we are bouncing from the box. But what we need to see is this daily candle close that we're seeing today, it is attempting to break back inside our volume profile. So we really need it to close back inside this volume profile, really above this, what is that, 480, about 480 region. No bull divs on the chart right now, and money flow is just crossing over into the red, suggesting that we could continue dropping a bit lower here. Let's go to our 8-hour chart. Oh, before we do that, I want to just mark out some daily levels that we have. Mark out this guy here. And we do have this daily. We do have this nice fair value gap right in here into that daily level. So that's going to be pretty nice. 513.5. And I just want to look at this potential Yeah, we're bouncing from the 1 to 1 as well. So you can see if this is a 3-wave corrective move, down, bounce, we need to start now impulsing out of this. See a 5-wave impulse out of this. Money flow doesn't look the best, and we did just print a hidden bear div yesterday on the lower highs that we made yesterday. With those hidden bear divs and with money flow and no bull divs on the chart on ICP, I mean, we might chop around this support level for a bit and even come up and locally take out, maybe change the market structure and start to form a range in this general area, but it's not looking the best here for ICP. Okay, we did see some 1 hour bull divs into that low. Very nice there. Money flow overall is kind of curving to the upside. So locally, we could be looking for a rise to take out yesterday's highs because remember, that's a holiday high considered a weekend high, or even to take out the highs that are at this 492.8, like 493. You have all these semi-equal highs in here. Oh, what's up, Darren Does Things? Welcome in, man. And Grotto EZ, thank you so much for the super chat. We will look at Ave and Tau just a second here. Okay, 8 hour charts. Yeah, no bull divs, but money flow is starting to look a little bottomy, and we are getting those big green dots here. We're at our box of support. We did take out the local liquidity of all these little guys here, those internal semi-equal lows, and this could give us a little bit of a push up. So let's do a few things here. Let's look at our golden pocket from the last big daily high to daily low. I know we're on the 8 hour chart, but we're looking at that. Naked, we do have a fresh naked weekly point of control near the golden pocket, and then you can also see this order block in here, this nice 8 hour order block in here, that, and you'd be filling the fair value gap. So this actually looks really good here, this general area for a potential resistance, because you have a lot of confluence. Order block, fair value gap fill, naked weekly point of control, golden pocket into that area. And then let's pull one more fib here. Okay, and then we do have that golden pocket near the daily. Now, I do not like how the point of control is a little bit below that, because what we could see in this scenario, if the value area low is going to hold and we're going to push up and see a rejection from this golden pocket, we'd be above the point of control, excuse me. So maybe we're just going to see a small drop to backtest the point of control before continuing to push up and sweep all these lower highs here. But there is some confluence in there, and probably the bigger golden pocket to pull would be from the highs here. That's near the value area high. So that's really where I'd be looking. Value area high, golden pocket. You'd also grab this liquidity, this guy, into your golden pocket. Liquidity grab into golden pocket, into value area high, 567. And you would just simply continue to form accumulation. If you reject from this area, look for a rejection. You could just come down to the point of control and then start the breakout, or this accumulation could continue for some weeks. But overall, ICP is looking good. The one big thing that we saw in ICP was we still haven't come down to take out the lows. We're forming this sort of parallel channel in here, actually. Oh, come on. And we'll pull it up to that. That weekly that is below us, it would be nice to see if we do not close the daily candle back above the value area low, like if we reject today and end up closing this daily candle below the value area low, I would expect that bleed to continue at least to the weekly, which is near the bottom of this kind of trend here. Which, what is going on with this? There we go. Now, I don't know if Curtis J, if you're looking at local scalps on this thing, but locally, because we are reclaiming that value area low, and you can see even we just back tested it and it looks like we're holding it. This is almost like that diamond pattern that you see, diamond reversal pattern. Be aware that this diamond reversal pattern could reject and you could just come right back down. But if you start to break it up, I would be looking at least to come grab the highs from yesterday, which weekend highs, like I said, not yesterday and Sunday, Monday, excuse me. And then coming up to take out these lower highs into your daily would be the next level I'd be looking. Even I think we would get a clean shot up there. If we don't SFP these internal highs, I think we'd get a shot up here. Maybe see a small rejection, but I'd be looking to come up to that box that I just talked about. Yeah, your momentum wave is starting to look a little bottomed here, and it does look like money flow is starting to curve to the upside again. So you could get a little bit of a relief rally. We are at the lows of the range, or the value area low of the range, and this daily close is going to be important. Closing above that 480 level. If we close above 480, we could see a bit of a push up here. Honestly, like 15-minute, we're just forming sort of a triangle in here. Attempting to break it right now. If we break it, we're coming up to take out the highs at least up today, but I'd be looking to come up to take out Monday's highs, weekend highs at 493. Money flow doesn't look the best here, and we did print a hidden bear div earlier, so be aware of a potential fake out here and another drop back down. Okay, let's go into Aave and Tau. Aave, I think it's been a while since we've covered Aave, but let's see here. I'm just going to mark out this new weekly real quick. And of course, we do have that weekly resistance above us. I know this chart's getting messy, so we'll clean this up. We pushed above our box. We had this box here with the naked monthly point of control in the weekly, but you can see even this push up to grab local liquidity, and then we saw a drop, and then another really big push up here on Aave. So that unfortunately didn't work out, guys. I would say that was a failed trade there. I don't really like the way this pitchfork looks. Yeah, I mean this. If you take that same pitchfork and change it to the modified, it is definitely more respected here, and we are attempting to maintain strength above it. So you can see we broke out of it, kind of formed this range above it, and we're continuing to break out and push above it. Now we're starting to form a bit of exhaustion here. So remember, towards the end of these moves, you oftentimes will get a quick impulse up. And then towards the end, when you start to see exhaustion, you get those ascending channels or rising wedges that form here, starting to show some exhaustion here. And we are starting to show that exhaustion, but we're still right around the value area high of our local range. So let me get rid of those. This daily's been tapped. We're going to get rid of that. Now the question is, did we take out the highs? No, we did not. So I would be looking to continue up a little bit higher. Why is that doing that? There we go. I'd be looking to continue up a little bit higher, at least until we take out the $400 highs. Based off of when we generally get that close, and you're seeing this bullish momentum continue, but it's starting to get exhausted. And this is the big thing, guys. We have the bear divs that are forming here, and money flow has been draining out. We even have money flow bear divs here. So we are starting to get those real big bear divs, but until we break structure bearishly, I would expect this kind of wedge type formation to continue, at least until we take the liquidity of the highs. But if we take the liquidity highs and we are continuing to get this formation, I would really be looking to get out of this. I'd be looking even for a potential swing short from $400. And in that case, if we do SFP the $400 highs, I would pull your golden pocket from your last major range lows to wherever that high is and be looking at that golden pocket. And that golden pocket generally is going to be around the POC of the range. If this range continues to form, this POC might shift up to this area. And then, of course, look at it would be the back test of the pitchfork again, the breakout of the pitchfork. And after breaking this pitchfork, you would want to maintain strength above it. So if we did this, reject reject from that weekly, come back down, hold that, and then come up here, take out both of these highs like together. And then if you start to lose that weekly, I'd be looking to come down to your golden pocket area. Now that's a theoretical golden pocket because obviously we haven't came up here yet. And this is concerning. This bearish divs confirmed, multiple drives of bear divs on the daily confirmed with money flow draining out of the asset and money flow bear divs confirmed on the asset. Just on Saturday this weekend when we pushed up here, we confirmed bear divs on NAMI even locally. So between these two highs and that there. And those bear divs are starting to play out by giving us this little bit of a drop over the last week and a half. I'm going to stay on the daily for a second. Yeah, there's not too much as far as naked daily points of controls go above us. Yesterday's is just right above us. Dang, that's a tough one. It looks like we're attempting to break out of this value area high. So if we close today's candle below that value area high, I would be looking for continuation down, some more continuation down. And we did front run the golden pocket, it looks like. This level looks really nice for support. If we continue that bleed down, this box between 275 and 273, because we have our 786 Fibonacci retrace, we have this internal liquidity grab, we have a naked daily point of control, and we have the back test of the pitchfork. So I'd be looking if we start to close daily candles back inside this volume profile, I'd honestly be looking for a move down with bounces along the way. Probably we're probably going to see a bounce from this golden pocket because we did front run it. So now there's a swing failure pattern. Let me turn this off. There's a swing failure pattern into that golden pocket from yesterday's lows, and yesterday's lows are considered weakened lows because it was a Monday, a holiday. Holiday Monday, excuse me. this is nice. So speaking again of that exhaustion that you often see towards the end, we're starting to see that exhaustion come in towards the end after the initial big drop here. But because we did not actually touch the golden pocket, you can see we barely front ran that golden pocket. Let me make sure that's good. Yeah, that's good. Front run of the golden pocket, this internal liquidity that's resting here right near the 0.65 of the golden pocket. I think that if we do reject right now this value area high, we're going to continue to drop down. See one more little last push back down, kind of finishing off this wedge. You do have 4-hour bull divs on the chart. Lower lows here, higher lows here. Money flow is starting to bottom out, but remember, guys, one drive bull div. If your money flow looks like garbage, generally you're going to see that continuation like locally, which is a downtrend until another drive of bull divs forms and until that money flow really starts to bottom and starts curving to the upside. We can zoom in on the 2-hour chart to see how that 2-hour chart looks. Now, this is pretty nice here, what we're seeing here on the 2-hour chart, because you have the 3 distinct lower lows. You have 3 distinct higher lows here. And your money flow now has bull divs as well. Lower lows on the price action, higher lows on the money flow. So you have money flow bull divs. Money flow is about to cross into the green here. Yesterday, we printed a hidden bear div. Dang, it's a bit murky here, but it's all going to depend on if we can close above, what is that, 314.5 ish, 314.8, let's say 314.8. If you close above that, I would be expecting to push up to at least grab this liquidity in here. Let's go back to the daily and see. Yeah. Here's a daily level, fresh daily level in there. And I just want to check to see no naked weekly points of control above here, unfortunately. It's really a shame that we front ran this golden pocket, because if you were looking at this, very nice here, lower lows coming in here, higher lows here, your money flow had been kind of overall, I guess you were dropping back into the red, but not too bad there. And if you would have hit that golden pocket, I would have definitely looked for a long if you would have actually hit the golden pocket. But because we front ran it, I would be looking, I wouldn't have taken it, to be honest. I would have waited for the level to be hit. Of course, I wasn't looking at this coin at all. So more locally, you could pull your volume profile and look at this kind of sideways range. Yeah, the value area low is right down near that internal liquidity in 0.65. And then if value area high is going to be near these highs. Like I said, if we break above this 314.8, we're probably going to sweep all of this into your daily, into your local value area high. I'm not too convinced yet on this. Be careful for the SFP very locally of these two highs, because it could just be like a little liquidity grab and then right back in there with the hidden bear div that printed just recently this morning. Money flow is attempting to cross into the green again. You can see attempting to cross into the green again. And this does kind of look like a symmetrical triangle that's attempting to break up. Okay, let me check the chat here. Yes, we'll go through T-Mont. We'll go through Chainlink as well for sure. Chino's hamster. Well, we know where hamsters go sometimes if you watch South Park. My wife keeps having them instead of me. Oh my gosh. Oh, what's up, false prophet? Welcome in, man. Okay, guys, by the way, that just reminded me. I do have a couple partners of the channel. So if you are interested in trading with me in my Telegram community, which is free, I am partnered with BYDFI. They are a VPN and KYC free exchange. All you need is an email and a password to sign up. If you do sign up using them, you will get 20% discounts on trading fees. And if you deposit just $100, they'll give you $50 free deposit bonus. So a 50% deposit bonus. And if you deposit that $100, you can get access to my Telegram community. All you need to do is click on the link in the description for the Telegram community, and then you'll type in /verify and then your user ID, which is this number up here, and it will automatically put you into that Telegram community where you can see some of my trade setups and some of my analysis. I understand that I've been more thing is they do give bigger discounts on trading fees depending on how much you deposit. So, and this is even they've lowered these numbers for us. So I believe to even get into SVIP, you only have to deposit $100,000 or 100,000, 200,000. I'll have to check for you guys, but it's a very, very good fees. Like some of the lowest fees in the markets. It's pretty much matching the other exchanges with the lowest fees in the markets. And yeah, very good platform. So that's BuyFi. Second, we do have NAMI trading, and that is this lower indicator down here, momentum and money flow indicator. I use it to help me with entries and exits on trades, confirmations to enter and exit trades. The hidden bear div signals are really strong for me. If you guys are interested in purchasing NAMI, False Profit has given me a 50% off discount code for my community, which is really, really good. The link to NAMI and the link to the discount code, which is just Divine50, is in the description. So if you guys are interested in NAMI, I would recommend getting it while that discount code is still available. Third, we do have MEXC. MEXC is doing if you deposit $200, you'll get a 20% deposit bonus. Then they are offering up to $10,000 in futures trading bonuses, depending on how much you trade, how much volume you move in your futures markets. And then lastly is Bybit. Bybit's one of the biggest exchanges in the world. To me, one of the most reputable exchanges. I would be trading on Bybit if I wasn't in an age restricted area, not age restricted, location restricted area. So if you're interested in Bybit, they're offering up to $30,000 in trading bonuses, depending on how much you deposit and trade. All those links are in the description. It's just a way to help out the channel. Also, if you guys hit the like button, I would appreciate that. If you get anything out of this video, please hit the like button for me. Help me spread this channel and keep growing it here. Keep growing the community. Okay, let's go into we'll go into Chainlink and then I'll go back to Tau if we got some time here. Guys, I do have a Zoom meeting in about 20 minutes here. I need to jump off in about 20 minutes. So, Chainlink. Let's go on to the daily time frame. So, Chainlink is losing that midline, but we are still above the value area high. Now, this value area high goes back even further than like Solana's. I think it was down back to, what was that? November of 2023. So, almost going on 2 years now. And we broke out of that value area high. You can see nice impulsive breakout of that value area high. We are around the midline. Now, if we can maintain above this midline, like, yes, I do understand yesterday was our first daily candle close below the midline, which is our first big sign of weakness. But today, if we can get back above this midline and close the daily candle at or above the midline, I expect Chainlink to continue up, really up to our next big major boxes. We do have 29.2 is a weekly level. Was it a weekly? Yeah, a weekly level that we could be looking at up there. Could be a small rejection area, but I do think Chainlink overall still looks bullish. We did confirm the bear divs though. So with confirmed bear divs and money flow draining out of the asset, I wouldn't be surprised if we do retrace all the way back down to the value area high to back test the value area high after we've broken above it. We have not back tested it since breaking out of it. And so it is very normal to see after bigger time frame bear divs are confirmed, that bit of a drop in a corrective move to back test what used to be considered overbought now as support, and then continue the big push to the upside. So overall, I do think Chainlink is looking good, and I will look for a long, by the way, at that 20.6 level, because if we zoom in onto our 4-hour chart and we take a volume profile of pretty much all the price action above that breakout. Okay, so we're at the value area low of the range, but not the volume profile, but the lows of the range. These lows down here, you can see we would add an SFP into that value area high. Guys, give me just a second. My dog is going crazy here. Okay, sorry about that, guys. So the lows of the range into the macro value area high back test would be something I'd be really interested in taking, grabbing that liquidity, and then back testing this as a macro support level now that we're breaking above it. And if we lose the value area low, which is and POC, which are pretty much right together and right at this midline, then I would really expect us to drop over the next few days to continue this bleed down to that like 20.6, 20.5, yeah, 20.6 area. But I would definitely be looking for potential swing long opportunities to even bring up to the upper band, at $35 area and the $31 area. Let's get rid of that for a second and let's look at the 1 hour time frame. Yeah, this is a bad sign today. What we're seeing here, we lost the midline, back tested a couple times, and we're struggling with it. So if we lower our time frame today and maybe even tomorrow, if we can't get back above this relatively quickly, I expect this drop to continue. And of course, in that scenario, we would also be losing our range. Sorry, our volume, our value area low of the range. We did have some local bull divs here on the 1 hour. Money flow doesn't look too good though. Yes, it is starting to bottom on the 1 hour, but let's zoom out onto our 8-hour chart. Money flow crossing over into the red. No bull divs on the 8-hour. Nami is showing bull divs, but money flow looks pretty bad here on the 8-hour. If we can reclaim the midline, I would look for a potential long on the back test. So you'd look for a long opportunity from like 23.5, 23.55, and I'd be targeting value area high of the range, and then my stop would go below those local lows from earlier today. You have this internal liquidity grab into value area high, and then let's actually pull our Fibonacci. Yeah, Fibonacci is very close to that. So that general area. $25.8 to really like 26.15 would be the first resistance level that I'd be looking at. Then you could even look at this upper range up in here. Let me pull that. Okay, that is something that we need to be aware of. I know the bigger range that we just looked at, this guy, pretty much all the volume since we've broken above the midline all the price actions, so we broke above the midline. The value area highs are a little bit higher, but because our smaller range POC is right next to that um, golden pocket, we could front run this area and front run the SFP. I wouldn't want to do that though. I'd want to come up and take that liquidity. Now, Nami just printed some hidden bull divs. Let's see, when was that? Last Wednesday. Okay, that hidden bull div gave us a little bit of a push up from the midline, but you can see we did reject the value area high and now dropped. So that hidden bull div is played out. And we're just ranging here, ranging in the general area of the midline. Let's turn on some of our levels, naked monthlies. Okay, we do have a fresh naked monthly right around that golden pocket as well. Let's see. Just waiting for this to load real quick. I want to check the naked dailies here. Okay, no naked dailies up there, but that naked monthly, and I'm just going to double check this to make sure that that is actually a naked monthly up there. Yeah, so we do have that naked monthly right around $25. We have to be aware of that because that could absolutely reject us. We're at our monthly level of support. Now, I believe this just confirmed. Oh, wait, hold on here. This is an old one. That shouldn't be there. Let's get rid of that. Definitely look at that value area high. Liquidity grab weekly golden pocket was right there. That's the resistance that I would be looking at, taking some profit if we come up here. Because once again, we could just be continuing to form this range around the midline. Okay, let me check the chat. You have a short from 111, 200. Ooh. Um, just now, I'm presuming, or maybe it was earlier today. The thing was, we came down to VWAP right at the beginning of the stream, and we started to bounce from VWAP. So because we changed market structure locally here, and then made a higher low, and then a higher high, and then a higher low, and then a higher high, we have to suspect that this local trend at least could continue higher until we get up to our resistances. And for me, yes, Bybit's anchored VWAP is where we're at now, but I look at Coinbase and we haven't touched the anchored VWAP on Coinbase yet. It's a little bit higher, about that 112, 200. So I think we could absolutely come up there. Money flows crossing over into the green here on the 2 hour. 1 hour did print the bear divs, but money flow is crossing into the green here. 15 minutes about to cross over into the green. And we printed a local bull div into that VWAP. Dang, we didn't get down to that 109, 300 level, which was the macro value area high on Coinbase. Bitcoin's not looking too bad for a relief rally, for a little bit of a relief rally here. I would look at that 113.5 to 113.8 or like 114. depending on what happens there, we could look for a scalp short or at least to take profit on the long if you're long. But this was our box of support, and coming into this box of support, you should be looking for longs, not shorts in this general area. Yeah, David, I'm looking at Bitcoin right now. So Bitcoin bouncing from the VWAP locally today does suggest that we reclaimed VWAP this morning, then came down, bounced from VWAP. So I think we're at least going to come take out the highs from earlier today up into 112.2 or 112.150, I should say. Depending on what happens there, if we break above that, I'm thinking we're coming up to grab the liquidity from last Thursday. Trump adopted Aave. Oh, okay. So that's why Aave pumped like that because Aave's doing pretty well. Tiamat, I am a dog guy. I love dogs, dude. They are really man's best friend. Yeah, I couldn't eat them either. Definitely couldn't eat them. What is the invalidation you have for the trade storm? Trade storm? I'm not sure what you mean, Tiamat. Oh, are you on Link? Are you talking about? Let's see, because you wanted me to look at Link. So, for Link, like as long as we're below this value or the midline, excuse me, I had a brain fart there. As long as we're below the midline, I'm not looking for any trades because we could just keep rejecting locally all day like we have been from this midline. But if we reclaim it, upon reclaiming it, I would look for a long, and my stop would go right below the local lows from earlier today. I'd be targeting this guy up here. It's not the best. It's a 2.5 to 1 risk reward ratio. But if we're going to get back above the midline and get back above this value area low of this more local range, then it's highly likely that we pump up at least a POC, which is where the golden pocket, the weekly is. Oh, I see. You're talking to Storm on Saturn. Okay, that's just that. 34 million just in Ethereum Foundation announces intent to sell 10,000 ETH worth 43 million. Yeah, I mean, guys, ETH is one of the most bearish looking coins right now as far as what we're seeing on higher time frames like 4 hours, 4 hour time frame. That money flow is just really bad, looking really bad. And I think this slow chop down here might continue until we come take out these range lows. Until we lose the value area low, I'm not too worried about it, but I want to come down and take out this internal liquidity that's right below us that we didn't take. And yesterday's low was a holiday weekend for the United States market. So I would think that we would probably come down at least to 4203 to like that $4,200 level. Really, it would be nicer to come take out the lows of the range, but of this small range. Okay, on BTC, if we can push through, retest 113.5 to 114.4 area. Next major resistance. Yeah, 118. I agree, man. 118 up there is our point of control of our range. It is our golden pocket. It is an internal liquidity grab of these highs here into that area. And really, there's not too much structure in here that would keep us from blasting up there. Okay, let's go into Tau. thing. We did reject that local golden pocket there near the value area high after bouncing from the midline, and now we're losing the midline. Never made it up to this golden pocket. Man, those front runs have been brutal lately. So on the daily time frame, what I do see, let's just get rid of this for now. We're in a sideways range, and I would be pulling that range like so. We're below the value area low of the range. We are bouncing from a weekly level of support. This is a very old one. I don't know why that was there. Bouncing from our weekly level. This weekly level bounce could bring us back up to backtest this value area low at 332.6. But if we do reject from 332.6, I would expect us to come take out the lows of the range at 287.5. And if you don't SFP these lows, there is nothing keeping us nothing really going to hold us up in this golden pocket, but we got to put that on log scale because that's more than a 100% move. Yeah, and then I would be looking to come down to your golden pocket at like 245, 246. That is going to be where your lower band of the pitchfork is. And if we do reject and lose the midline, you could continue that drop down. Let's also look at our trend-based Fibonacci extinction going from the highs to the lows to the highs. Yeah, and that's going to be within your one-to-one target as well, coming down into this general area. So that's like really good support. I'd be looking for potential swing long opportunities from this area. Looks like a more complex correction. Three wave W, you got your X, and then you could see a big three wave Y coming all the way back down to your golden pocket, or at least to come take out the lows of the range at 287.5. No bull divs on the daily time frame. Let's zoom out to that weekly. Not a lot of data here. Yeah, I really think that coming down to take out 287.5 would actually be nice. Uh, we're probably going to see a little bit of a bounce from this weekly level that we just bounced from Sunday. No bull divs on the 4 hour even really. So I would expect this kind of chop that we see to continue. Slow chop and bleed down. Bouncing from the bottom of the channel and the weekly. So watch for the rejection around that value area low or in the midline. Continuing this bleed down. And you could just bleed down in this channel. You can see the channel's been respected. We had a deviation here. So that's going to be something to watch for, a slow bleed down until we get to this area. Okay, and then as far as levels above us, let's pull our fib from high to low right now. Golden pocket at 405 is going to be really important right away for a couple of reasons. We have the liquidity grab of our internal highs into your golden pocket, but you can also see it's a very nice support resistance flip. So, support through all of here, then it turned into resistance here. So it's a support resistance flip. If we do come back up there, now I don't think it's likely we come up there right now. But if we do, that would be definitely an area I'd be looking for a potential short and then this range to just continue. But with that liquidity resting down at the bottom of that range, and if we pull our fib from the lows of the range to the highs here, we've already taken out golden pocket. Have we hit the 886? Yes, we've hit the 886. So we're in a downtrend. We've hit that 886. Let me make that a different color. Since we've hit that 886, now we do have a higher probability of taking out 287.5 because this is a local downtrend making lower lows, lower highs. So now we could also look for that lower low to come in here on the charts. I'd be interested in looking for a rejection from that value area low at 332, like 332.6, 332.8. And a continued drop. Let's look at the 1 hour chart. And remember, guys, in ranges, we often bounce from the 886, and we can see a decent relief rally from the 886. But it does give us the higher probability of coming to take out those lows. Local bull divs actually touching the weekly. So remember, we have bull divs, but you want to wait for an actual level of support to be hit. So low, actually hitting the weekly with bull divs confirmed. Money flow was bottoming out here. Hidden bull divs. So a little bit of a relief rally could be expected on Tau. Yeah, you're long from 109 at looking at TP at 113. That's awesome, man. That's a great trade. Thank you, Mark Dutch. Yeah, guys, please hit the like button if you got anything out of this video today, this live stream. Let's check out Bitcoin real quick here, and then I do got to take off. Shoot, yeah, it's already past 2 here, so I think we're going to continue rising a little bit, bouncing from that VWAP today after reclaiming it, reclaim VWAP, backtest it, bouncing. So I would be looking to at least come take out the highs up to that 112.2. But most likely we are going to push up to that 113.5 to 113.8 level, where it's really going to be the big test. But as far as our daily time frame goes, we are holding our support level, finding a nice local rounded bottom in here with some bull divs on the chart, like 8 hour, 4 hour, 6 hour. Did we have 2 hour bull divs? No, not really 2 hour. I guess you did have 2 hour bull divs too. Lower lows here, higher lows here, and your money flow was curving up. So actually coming into that support was really nice. And with the amount of divs that we're seeing, the bull divs on the chart, we're at least expected to get some sort of relief rally here. If we do break above 114-ish, like 113.8, and maintain above it, then I think there's pretty much a straight shot up to the value area low of our previous range at 115.6. But I would honestly be looking to come up to that 118. Not looking too bad, though. Not looking too bad. Okay, guys. If you got anything out of the video today, please like the channel. Let's see. Short 111, 800. TP at 91K. Big dump tomorrow from Target. Um, is there anything big planned for tomorrow? I mean, Jolts numbers. Okay, we do have Jolts. CPI month over month. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that could be a bearish catalyst. Oh, they are a spammer. Okay. Shorted 111.8. So you're looking for an SFP of that local high. I mean, yeah, 112 2 ish, 112 150. But this does look pretty nice, guys. This rounded bottom that we're starting to form in here at support. Thank you, Mark Dutch. I'm happy to be back, man. You know, it was a fun vacation, and always taking time with family is important. But I love this, and I'm love back to streaming, back to the charts, and ready to get it. You know, I think there's a lot of altcoin opportunities that could be coming. I really, guys, I know this is going to sound bad, but I really kind of want ETH to drop back down to 3,500, like that 3,500 level. If we see a bigger drop down to 3,500, you know, maybe some bounces along the way, but this area here, get a macro backtest to that zero point 0.5, that naked daily point of control, and that macro value area high at the bottom of the pitchfork band, rejected the top of the pitchfork, come down to the band, boom, we could see a big, and that would be your also your bigger wave four potentially. One, two, three, four, and then we could see our five pushes up to, like, you know, 5,500 or higher to finish this impulse. But that area, and actually, I think I need to. Sorry, guys, I do not know if I reset that fib. We're gonna repull those fibs. From the lows to the highs. Yeah, okay. So, little bit different here. I forgot to repull that fib. That 382 is a little bit higher than what we had originally marked out, but that zero point 0.5 just looks so much better now, too. That zero point 0.5 is right above the value, the macro value area high, and right into your naked daily there and into the bottom of the pitchfork band. Because if we're going to reject, if we're truly going to reject the top of this pitchfork here after grabbing liquidity from the all time highs, and we're not going to SFP our range lows, then we do expect a drop back down, and that would be really, really nice, like a really good swing long. And then let's pull our golden pocket from the last big daily lows to our highs. Okay, now that golden pocket's looking a little bit nicer with that 382 close by. Not the nicest confluence there, but that general area could be an area to hold as well. What's the difference between my BYDFI Telegram and Discord services? So, Maddie, the difference is a lot of people in Discord charge a monthly fee. I'm not charging a monthly fee. The only thing is you have to be like, you have to sign up using my affiliate account. So when you sign up using the affiliate account for BYDFI, it helps both of us. First of all, you guys get discounts on trading fees. You get a 50% deposit bonus if you deposit $100. Now, if you deposit more than $100, you can get 10 to 20% deposit bonuses, depending on how much you deposit. But and then you get access to the Telegram for free. And the reason why that works for both of us is, first of all, you know, I do get a percentage of the affiliate marketing. Like if you guys sign up, I'll get a percentage of that. So I think it's a win-win for everyone because it's free for you guys. You guys don't, after you get the initial sign up and get in there. Uh, of course, it's just me as well. Like it's not a, you know, some of these discords have more coaches in them and everything, but you guys will get access to those trades for free, and it's your money to trade with. You're just using the exchange. your money to trade. You get the discounts on trading fees. You get the initial deposit bonus. They also do a bunch of stuff where they give away free prizes depending on how much you trade. And yeah, that's it. So no monthly charge for it. I would say is the difference. The bigger cycle will play out. We might change the rate cut or continue the down cycle. Yeah. Just a warning for a boss like you. If we pass the target 113.8, yeah, okay. Big deals. I think that 113.8 level is a really good level to look at as well. Now, I'm not with the intermediate time frame bull divs that we are seeing, like on the 8 hour, and we're bouncing for macro support. I'm not going to take that 113.8 unless we're seeing bear divs coming into it. I want to see like 30-minute, hour, maybe even hour bear divs. We are even already confirming some bear divs on the hourly chart, not the daily. Oops, the hourly. Well, we were confirming them, but now we're starting to push up again here, kind of invalidating that. Money flows rising. So I do think that we're going to continue pushing up locally. We bounce from our VWAP. If we come up here and we see continued bear divs forming on the chart, like these higher highs in the price action locally, and then say we get lower highs in here, I will be looking. And then, of course, the SFP into the golden pocket, right? And we only take it if the SFP confirms. So you have that golden pocket right up there, right up near the bearish backtest of the pitchfork. And so if we do come up there, we confirm the SFP. I'll look for a short on the confirmation of the SFP. But it would be really helpful if we saw bear divs up there. If we do see bear divs up there, then we could look for the short. Stop would go above wherever that wick was. And I would be targeting, honestly, I'd be targeting these lows just down here. You could also pull a range of just all this lower price action here underneath the pitchfork. And maybe a TP1 would be around that value area low. Still a really good risk reward trade there. Okay, gotta go for real, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I will be streaming again on Thursday, and I'll see you same time, same place. Have a good one, guys.